Welcome to Retirement Matters with Dale Smothers. Dale is the founder and president of RDS Wealth Management, one of the region's most sought-after retirement planning firms. Dale has a master's degree with an emphasis on finance, holds a retirement income professional certification, and has spent his career helping clients plan to live worry-free in retirement. Dale is a trusted voice to many families across the region and this great country, and a regular contributor to many national media publications. And now, here is Retirement Matters with Dale Smothers.
Hello and welcome. You are listening to Retirement Matters. This is a show for folks who are fed up with outdated financial advice and for those who are looking to retire while worrying less about the stock market and more about living life the way they have always wanted. I'm Dale Smothers, and it is my goal to give you the information you need on how to save money, plan well, and live happy in retirement. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. You're ready to start discussing all things retirement matters this morning. We're going to dive into some deep topics like when to take Social Security, why it's important for you to take control of your 401k when it is possible, not waiting until you retire, but perhaps there is a way to take control of that 401k a little bit earlier than retirement, and what it means to have an account that you don't really need in retirement, and why required minimum distributions may come to haunt you later in life. There is a point in which the government makes you take money from your IRA, and we need to be prepared for that before it hits us unaware. So we're going to cover every bit of that. We're going to cover some key ages in retirement, decisions that you must be making around your retirement plan. When you arrive at certain ages, there are things that must happen very quickly. And then at certain ages, there are choices that you may have that you're not aware of having at the time. So we're going to hit some of those. And it starts as early as 59 and a half. And we may even talk about the rule of 55, which happens earlier, happening at age 55, as the rule implies. But before we do any of that, I want to discuss with you this week's pause for positivity. This section of the show is where we stop and think about the world in a positive light. There's too much negative news out in the news media today. There's certainly things that we can focus on that would be negative, but for this brief moment in time, every week I get to share a moment where we are focusing on the positive things of life, and it's rather refreshing, to say the least. This week, I want you to think about this. I know this to be true. 10 years from today, if you're still alive, and certainly if you're not alive, if it were possible to give a certain amount of money to be the age you are today, you would do it. No matter the amount of money, if it was within your means and it was possible to simply give money to be back at today's age, you would do it. And what that tells us is that there is no time in your life that is more important than the present. There is no time in your life in which it is more important to be where you are than right now. I've been challenged recently to be where my feet are. If you're like me, a lot of things that you do in life are a vision of things that you had years ago. You're maybe pressing forward to the next vision while working on the existing present time with a mindset of what is of tomorrow, worried about or focused on what is coming tomorrow, and forgetting to be where your feet are. Spending more time and attention in present time is a challenge. If we're not careful, we will forget that today is the present. It's today. Eleanor Roosevelt is famous for saying that yesterday is history and tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift from God, and that is why we call it the present. So I'll say it again. The idea that you would be willing to give any amount of money anything that you possibly could give, you would give every dime of your money 10 years from now to be the age that you are today. So in other words, to rewind time and be back at today's current age. You would give a lot of money and probably just about anything you had to get those 10 years back. You'd probably do things differently. You'd probably rework some things in your life. You may make different choices or decisions. It's very likely that you would give just about anything to be back 10 years ago. And there, I guess, are certain circumstances where that would not be the case, but more times than not, getting those 10 years back would give you wisdom that you didn't have, would give you opportunities that you didn't have, and maybe you forgot to take advantage of or let slip you by. And the idea that that is true for most people and for most situations tells us that there is no time more important than the present. So let's take advantage of it. We're all blessed with 24 hours in a day, and how we choose to use those hours is up to us. So let's go forward knowing that we have the ability to make a difference in people's lives. But in order to do so, we have to be where our feet are in the moment, looking for those opportunities to spend time, energy, and attention on and with the people we love and care about the most. There's our pause for positivity. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we're jumping into more retirement matters right after this.
You're listening to the Retirement Matters Show with Dale Smothers. Dale is the founder and president of RDS Smothers Wealth Management. We specialize in building retirement plans that allow you to walk away from the worry of running out of money. If you'd like to chat with a member of our team, you can do so absolutely free by calling 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-PLAN. Visit us online at rdswealth.com and be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter.
All right, welcome back to the show. We're going to jump into today's content very quickly. We're going to cover several things here. We got about 3 or 4 things that I'd certainly want to make sure we cover. And one of them is the idea of taking control of your 401k. We have just seen the 14th record close this year on the S&P 500. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the S&P 500, it is a measurement of the 500 largest companies in America. And the S&P 500 is oftentimes referred to as the market. The market has just closed higher for the 14th time this year alone. This has been an historic year by all accounts already because of all of the craziness in the market. We've seen 20% drops followed by 20+% rebounds. And ultimately, we are higher today than we were January the 1st of this year. And that's coming off of a very historic year in 2024. To say it differently, or maybe to say it more pointedly, the market's doing very well. And it's likely that your 401k is too. But in a 401k, they have very good growth options. Most 401ks are solid growth products. We talk a lot about the difference between growth and income phases of retirement. But when you enter into income phase in retirement, when you have reached the point that you need to take income from this account, the 401k is probably one of the most inefficient vehicles that you can have your money in. Well, how do we get it out of there, Dale, is often the time that we hear, the question rather, that we hear around this time. And that question has a very specific answer, and it's called a rollover. Rolling that money over into an IRA without paying taxes on that money, taking control of that money at the age of retirement, and turning that money into sources of income by investing it differently is often required, or at least certainly recommended to most people. This is because the 401k is not very efficient at giving us options to have income distributions from those investments. Not only are the accounts a little bit wonky when it comes to turning on monthly income, the overall 401k account gets a little bit challenging in that respect. But It's also because of the underlying investments inside of the accounts. Most of the time, 401ks offer you a buffet of investment options, and that buffet is limited. It is certainly very much focused on growing assets rather than taking assets out or taking income out. And for this reason, it oftentimes has lousy or lazy types of safe and conservative income specific investments. So what do we do to be able to take those funds out and place them into income investments? Well, we have to fill out some forms, maybe make a few phone calls, and transfer money from your existing 401k company over to an IRA at a different company or sometimes at the same company. This IRA rollover happens without any tax penalties, without any taxes owed, and without any distributions. This IRA rollover also allows you to, air quotes here, take control of the investments inside of your account. You're no longer subject to the rules of the 401k. You are now under the guidelines and rules of the IRA. The individual retirement agreement is one that allows you to pick your investments without any limits. Now, RDS Wealth, our firm, RD Smothers Wealth Management, will manage those IRAs for you and the investments inside of those IRAs to generate the income that you desire in retirement. But if you are working with, let's say, a different firm or a different advisor, or maybe you're just doing this on your own, the IRA becomes a very good option if you know what you're doing, because you can pick different types of investments and become more efficient in your management. Oftentimes less fees, oftentimes more conservative investments that still have the potential for upside growth without having all of the downside exposure that you may have in, say, a 401k. Simply put, you could be a little bit safer if you choose and still make some money along the way. But while this is certainly known for those who are maybe retiring or close to retirement, let's say you're 2 or 3 months from retirement, you may be looking, I need to start looking at a 401k IRA rollover. You may know that already. I want to ask you, did you know that at 59 and a half, many people have the right inside of their 401k plan to take control of those assets now, not waiting until 60 or 65 or 67 when you decide to retire. Instead, taking control of those assets now at 59 and a half and now targeting income for the future. This is the type of investment advice that we offer when we sit down with a retiree or someone who's close to retirement. And that's why we really say that whenever you're less than 5 years from retirement, it's important to start looking at your options now. Because if we could take control of your 401k at 59 and a half, we can be more targeted towards where we want to be at 65, or maybe at 62 or 67 or even 70. Taking control of those funds now allows us to manage them with a purpose rather than just managing them and hoping they grow. The 401k is not a bad tool or a bad vehicle. It's just one that often limits you on where you can put your money, how you can invest your money. And having those choices become a lot easier inside of an IRA than it may be inside of your 401k. And for that reason, understanding that 59 and a half becomes a very critical age at which you have a decision to make. Do you leave your money in a 401k or do you put that in an IRA? This is what we can help you with in making that decision. At RDS Wealth, we would love an opportunity to sit down and see if it makes sense for you if you're over the age of 59 and a half. So here's my offer to you. We'd love to sit down with you for a free no-cost consultation with you and your spouse, or maybe it's just you making this decision at 59 and a half. If you are over the age of 59 and a half and you have money in your 401k and you know at some point in the next 5 to 10 years you would like to retire, let's get serious about focusing on your retirement plan. Can you answer a question like, how much income do you need? How much income can you generate? How do you turn that income into income? And how long will that income last? Well, if you can't answer those questions, it's likely that you need an income plan, and we can assist you with that. If it becomes apparent that the income plan requires a different investment plan, we can assist you in managing that investment plan and putting it together to target the income we have laid out. In retirement, it's very simple. We've got to make sure that the income you need to live the lifestyle you desire is there. While you're in growth phase, you are working. You are generating income from your place of employment, and that income satisfies your lifestyle. But when you retire, you're responsible for satisfying that lifestyle and the income that it requires, and RDS Wealth is here to help. 270-600-PLAN is how you can get in touch with us for that no-cost consultation to see if you're over the age of 59 and a half. It may make a lot of sense for you to take this 401k and roll it into an IRA. Now, that does not mean that you have to get rid of your 401k. It means that you keep your 401k, you continue to contribute to your 401k, but the money that's in your 401k that you've already made, it becomes an in-service rollover into an IRA, and from there, we help manage and conserve that money. The money you've already made, let's make sure that we don't see it go backwards. The money that you haven't yet made, we can be a little bit more aggressive inside of the 401k. The 401k is a very, very good aggressive vehicle. It's a rather lousy conservative vehicle. And if you would like to understand how the IRA and perhaps the in-service rollover could benefit you in conserving and preserving these gains that we've seen over the last year, I mean, we have seen some incredible run-ups in the market. And taking advantage of them now and locking in some of those gains may not be a bad idea. If you would like to understand more about how it fits your plan, again, 270-600-PLAN, 270-600-7526. Get in touch with us. A team member would be happy to sit down with you and let you know exactly what your next step needs to be. And as always, you could certainly navigate to our website, rdswealth.com, download some literature while you're there about how to weather a recession should one come. Or there's a lot of different resources at our website that may be good for you to answer some questions. And if you have more specific questions, just navigate over to the top right-hand side and click Schedule a Visit. And from there, you can actually schedule a 15-minute phone call with one of our advisors where we'll call you at a time that's convenient for you. We're here to answer questions. If you have questions, we have answers. And that's what we do every single week here on this show. So we're going to take a quick reset. We're going to come back with another age that is very important, the age of 62, and a decision that you may face at that age. You may have already guessed. It has to do with Social Security. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with more Retirement Matters right after this.
Thank you for listening to Retirement Matters, presented by RD Smothers Wealth Management. If you'd like to speak with us, give us a call at 270-600-PLAN. And if you enjoy the information in this show and would like to hear more, you can access previous shows by searching for the Retirement Matters podcast on the podcast platform of your choice. We also produce a weekly newsletter. Receive it free to your email inbox by signing up online at rdswealth.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. The age of 62 poses a dilemma for a lot of people. As you work towards that age, we just discussed the age of 59 and a half and the age at which you have the ability to take control of your 401k. The age of 62 is the age that you can decide to take Social Security. So I ask you this question: when should you take Social Security? Not when are you going to, when should you? Based off of your retirement plan, what is the age that you should be taking Social Security? And if you can't answer that question, well, you likely need a strong income plan. Now, you may be working with an advisor right now who has grown your money very well. And in growth phase, a growth advisor makes a lot of sense. But when you transition into income phase, and as you approach the age of 62, for sure, you need advice from an income advisor. Someone who is going to be there to help you navigate the twists and turns of retirement. We just had a retirement class, the retirement readiness class. That's the series that we just wrapped up at our office here in Campbellsville. And we had a few classes there with a few people in each class, and each of them got a lot out of this class. But one of the things that you certainly get out of that class is the understanding that retirement is so much more than just picking the right stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. There is so much that goes into retirement income phase. And namely, we have to understand where our income is coming from as we enter into retirement income phase. One of the big sources of income is Social Security. And if we're not careful, we'll forget to maximize or optimize Social Security because, well, we just take it when we turn 62. Or maybe we just take it at 65. Or maybe there's that thing we call the retirement age. And full retirement is 67 for me, so I'll just take it at 67. Maybe that's where we're making our decisions, is in the emotional state of mind. Well, what if we broke this down into the mathematical and the science behind retirement and retirement cash flow planning in particular? What do you mean, Dale, cash flow planning? Well, when you retire, it becomes all about cash flow. It becomes about the amount of money you have in your pocket every single month. Because in retirement, your retirement lifestyle is governed by the amount of money that you have that you know you're going to have next month and the month after that and the month after that. Without any real certainty of continued income in retirement, even though you have money in your retirement account, you may live what we call a what-if retirement, where you don't truly spend your money because of all the what-ifs that face you. You see, it's not about the day that you run out of money in retirement that changes everything. It's about the day that you realize you're going to run out of money that changes everything. When you no longer have the guarantee internally that you are secured in your retirement income, it becomes challenging to live the lifestyle you desire. And this is why a retirement income plan is important. And inside of that retirement income plan, it is extremely important that you know when you should take Social Security. There actually is math and science behind this decision, and it all revolves around your cash flow. There's this ugly little critter that lives over in the corner of retirement land, and from time to time you will see it come into your house and steal your money. And it's called the inflation monster. Inflation is what causes your dollars to lose purchasing power. And the bigger we can make your Social Security check, the more we can maximize your Social Security, the less power that inflation monster has on you. As well as the fact that if you pass away, let's just imagine you're married, right? You're married, you and your spouse are living this nice lifestyle. You're both bringing in an income check, but the instant that one of you pass away, one of your Social Security checks go away. Which one? Well, it's the lower of the two. So maximizing Social Security becomes very important for legacy purposes as well, leaving someone else behind. If you are leaving behind a loved one, you want to leave them with the biggest possible check. So it makes a lot of sense for us to maybe wait a little bit before we take the biggest Social Security check of the family. And oftentimes the argument is, well, what if Social Security is no longer there? The chances of Social Security going to zero are slim. The chances of Social Security being cut is pretty high. But I'd rather cut a bigger check by a percentage than I would cut a smaller check by a percentage. And we can show you all the math behind that as well. It starts by putting together an income plan. So when should you take Social Security? Well, it depends on a lot of factors. A lot of factors go into this decision, but the decision should be yours to make based off of the math, not the emotion. And when you put together an income plan and you look at the differences between taking it at 62, 63, 64, and so on, you can make a very informed decision in a way that I know you're capable of making. It's not that you're stupid. It's that you have never seen it written out. And this is where you have the ability to make a wise decision in retirement. Making that wise decision starts by building an income plan for you and your family, knowing how much money you need, how long it will last, and where it's coming from, when to turn on certain sources of income like Social Security or pension, or maybe it's your investment account that we need to understand when to take certain amounts of money from certain accounts. And a lot goes into that with tax ramifications or healthcare expenses that may rise if you take it from the wrong account. This type of income plan is important, and if you would like to set that up or at least begin the discussion on how you can set that up, give us a call at 270-600-PLAN. Ask us the question, when should I take Social Security? We can help you answer that question. And if you would like to set up a time to just simply have a phone call, do that by running over to our website, rdswealth.com, rdswealth.com. Click on Schedule a Visit, and from there you can set up a 15-minute phone call with one of our advisors. We'd be happy to chat with you anytime that it's convenient for you, and that's the way to make that happen. All right, we're going to take a real quick break, and we're going to discuss one thing that I briefly mentioned just a second ago about healthcare expenses rising on you. And one of the things that we see when people have failed to plan for certain types of accounts in their retirement portfolio is that they have something called a required minimum distribution that forces them into something called IRMA. We're going to discuss that and the impacts that it can have on you later in life right after this break.
You're listening to the Retirement Matters Show with Dale Smothers. Dale is the founder and president of RDS Smothers Wealth Management. We specialize in building retirement plans that allow you to walk away from the worry of running out of money. If you'd like to chat with a member of our team, you can do so absolutely free by calling 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-PLAN. Visit us online at rdswealth.com and be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter.
All right, welcome back to the show. What would you do if I told you that at a certain age in life, the government is going to make you take your own money out of your account and pay taxes on it? Well, that's exactly what happens in a required minimum distribution. At 73 under current law, and that will likely change to 75 over time, but at current law, 73 years old, if you are reaching that age and you have money inside of an IRA, a 401k, or a 403b, 457, any tax-deferred accounts in your retirement portfolio, you will be forced to take a minimum distribution in that year and every year for the rest of your life. Now, you may think, well, that's no big deal, because the reality is those who get there and have required minimum distributions likely have so much money that they don't really need the money that they have saved, or at least not for income purposes. But what happens a lot of times for those individuals is that they are making money from other sources, and this required minimum distribution kicks them into something called IRMA. Now, without getting into the weeds for the sake of time, IRMA is an extra tax on your Medicare premiums. Because of the lack of planning later in life, it's likely that your required minimum distributions could threaten your Medicare premiums being higher. This is the type of planning that's required when you are building an income plan in retirement years. Now, the reason I bring this up is because it is a shocker to a lot of people not having put this plan into motion sooner. With a little bit of planning, they could have saved themselves a ton of money in taxes. And just like that, it's the end of the show. I can't believe that music has already started playing on me. But here's what I want to tell you. I don't care if you're 59 years old or 79 years old. If you're listening to the show and you have not put together an income plan for your retirement, if you have not put together a tax plan or a legacy plan or a healthcare plan in your retirement years, it is important that you do those things. And RDS Wealth is here to help you. We are preaching this message loud and clear that retirement is so much more than just investing your money wisely. While we invest your money wisely, we also know that these twists and turns that are unique to the income phase of retirement planning are things that we specialize in and we help people with every single day. If it's something you would like a little bit more attention on, give us a call, 270-600-PLAN, or navigate to our website, rdswealth.com, and schedule your time today. Now, until we talk again, whether that's right here on the same station or it's in person in our offices, always remember these three things: save money, plan well, and live happy in retirement. God bless.